Travis Winkey's modeling studio in Baltimore looks like a who's who display of stars in the entertainment and fashion industry. Travis is an internationally known fashion show producer, director, designer, and choreographer. Directing shows in Paris, Rome, Athens, Milan, and other fashion centers around the United States, Travis has worked with some of the biggest names in fashion design, like the late Willie Smith, and entertainers. This is literally the wall of fame here. There are so many famous people on this wall. So pictures. I know you get excited just talking about it. Tell us about Willie Smith.
Okay, Willie and I have been friends, you know, before he died, I was friends for a long time. And Willie was one of the first persons that gave me some of my biggest fashion shows. I mean, early, you know, really getting my models that I was training down here into large shows. So Willie and I were very, very tight. You know, he's originally from Philadelphia, and then when he started working in New York with Willie Ware and all that, you know, we just became very good friends and stayed friends for a long time. I was the first person to bring Willie Smith into this area, into the Baltimore, Washington areas.
When Minority Business News returns, we'll find out how an 11-year-old go-go dancer grew up to be an internationally acclaimed fashion entrepreneur. Stay with us. Welcome back to Minority Business News. We're talking with Travis Winkey. Travis, tell us, what are you doing now? You've done so many different things.
I guess the current thing that we're doing right now is the coast-to-coast competition, which is American designers and models throughout this country. And American designers and models, if you break the letters down, then that comes out to be the Atom. And one of the awards that will be given away will be the Atom Award and the Coast-to-Coast Competition Award, which will be for rising star designers.
Who came up with the idea for the Atom Award?
Well, it's really not just the Atom Award. It's two awards. It's the Atom Award and it's the Coast to Coast Designer Award. And really, I guess I've been working on these all my life because for the last 17, 18 years, I've been doing a model competition and a designer competition. I mean, it's amazing. We have wonderful, wonderful designers, but nobody knows who they are. And they're working out of their houses in the little basements and out of their kitchens, etc. And they're extremely, extremely good. And see, I worked in Paris, and I worked backstage with people like Gucci and Saint Laurent and Carter and some of those people backstage now, okay? And I see how wonderful those designers are in Paris for the press showings. Wonderful designers. And then before Patrick Kelly, and Patrick Kelly is a designer who died some years ago, but Patrick Kelly from down south, but I met Patrick Kelly in New York with Willie Smith, because Willie Smith, when he was alive, and Willie Smith was of Willie Ware, you know, wonderful, wonderful designer. And Patrick and Willie and all of us used to be in New York, and I know they were wonderful designers. But I knew them when they didn't have the name. So in going around the country seeing designers that you have little contests with, who are wonderful designers in their towns, but they have no name. Nobody knows about them. And you know, we see the other major designers all the time. You see the labels, the Calvin Kleins, etc., who are making all kinds of money from this business, doing all kinds of things. And we have other designers in their homes, but just don't have the backing. They don't have the textile companies to back them. They don't have the large industry to back them. You know, nobody knows who they are. Someone in our business have to take the lead in trying to push these designers and models.
What is the Travis Winkey theory of modeling? Tell us about that.
Well, the Travis Winkey theory, technique, and concept of modeling is basically being natural. You know, being as natural as you possibly can. Of course, one of my pet peeves is posture, so you really have to be very hard when it comes to posture and teaching that. And then we have, for instance, I'm going to give you like precedent. We have like the Travis Winkey theory of posture control. Then we have the Travis Winkey theory of runway modeling, the Travis Winkey theory of tea-room modeling, Travis Winkey theory of acting as it has to do with modeling. You know what I mean? The Travis Winkey theory of photographic modeling, where a model can learn to do up to 250 poses in a matter of a minute. Basically, what I did is took all those theories and put them together to make up a concept, and that's all it is. That's all it is. It's about 16 to 17 different little theories that we put together to make up a concept, and that's what I teach. And what I do is, I've been teaching in and out of Paris for about, I guess, almost 10 years. I would go there every year and teach like little classes while we were over there doing shows. And then all over the United States, I do like master workshops. I've been in the schools all over just teaching about posture and that kind of thing. And then my own studio here, which I've been doing, I guess, for about since '75. you know. And and then I really didn't have my theory together in 75, but we were still developing it, you know.
So how do you find the models? Is it word of mouth? Do you advertise?
Well, you know, most is word of mouth. It really is. I mean, people, one of my main things I do fashion shows. And so, you know, you may do a fashion show to maybe 200 or 300 people in the audience and maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people in the audience. But people, the word travels. And basically, that's really how I got started, by the word, by people knowing my work and knowing that the work was good. And they call you and they ask you, and that's it. I had a troupe of models, and the troupe of models are all models that I taught to model. And we go out and do shows, and people love the way they model. And when they see models in different shows, they say, "Oh, I know that's a Travis Winkey model," because you can tell.
What's a distinctive trait of a Travis Winkey model? How could I tell one of your models as opposed to someone else who was trained under another teacher?
I guess that they're natural, and that when they're on the runway, it looks like they've been doing it all their lives. It looks like it's something that they're doing, and it wasn't taught to them. It just came to them naturally. You know what I'm saying? And but when it comes to teaching modeling, I also work with models who've been modeling for a long time. You know, I mean, who are already making money, but they would come back to some workshops just for a refresher. It's just like a great ballet dancer always goes back to his classes, and he always goes back to the basics. I think the model should always keep up with his bases. Like a person who want to exercise and really want to keep it up, he always goes back and every day and do a little exercise. It's the same thing. And so we entail that a lot in our master workshops. So I think more than anything else, that they're natural, and that when you see them, there's an extra something. They're special, but you know, you can't put your hand on it. What's so special about them? But it's just something that exudes from inside. You know what I mean? And I think it's a part of that special thing. And I can give that to people, and I can pull things out of people that they ordinarily wouldn't. You know, you wouldn't ordinarily say.
The attitude,
yeah,
right?
you know, it's like an image maker almost. I don't know what it is, but I've always had that about me. You know, I've always had that about me. And I get excited when I talk about it because it is exciting. It's exciting to pull something out of someone and you see them turn very special, you know, after 6 months, a year, whatever. And I love that, you know. I just freak out. I love that kind of stuff. But that's basically it, I guess.
Hold that thought, Travis. There's more minority business news to come. Stay with us, won't you? You're well known in the industry for your work as a producer and a director of shows. There must be a number of things that have to go into production and producing. What are some of the things that you have to do? How do you tie it all together?
Well, you know, it varies. I've done some of the largest shows in our country. I've done the Miss Model contest in one of the French islands, which was about 35 countries, girls representing. I've done the Congressional Black Caucus show in Washington, D.C. I did that twice in 90 and 91. I did the in-person show, which is one of the largest shows in the country. I just finished some things down in Atlanta, Georgia with the King Center for Martin Luther King's wife, Coretta Scott King, for the King Week. You know, so I do those kind of things, right?
Right.
And right now, of course, we're working on the big project that in South Beach in Miami, Florida. Putting a show together and being a producer is knowing how to pull the best out of the models. And I'm just giving some for instances, is knowing how to get the lighting together, the stage, the background. The producer does everything. And a producer has to have some kind of knowledge about how to put the whole project together. And a lot of times you may do a show with 5 or 6 models. Then it's very simple. But when you get to a large production and you might have like $150,000 budget or $200,000 budget, then you have to spend that money right. You have to know to get the right models. You have to know to get the right lighting and where to go to get that lighting. There's a lot of lighting companies in the country that are very good, but when it comes to handling a very, very, very large job with a $200,000 budget, is a lot different from handling a job for a $25,000 budget.
You started traveling internationally, out of the country in the 1980s. Tell me about that.
We kept doing shows. I kept teaching my friends, and then later on, you know, I wanted my own business, And I was going to, like I said before, I was going to start a dance studio, but then I started a modeling studio and teaching children. And some people didn't trust to bring their children to me. I had a very hard time in the beginning because a lot of established people in fashion wouldn't send their people to me at that point because they feel Travis don't know what he's doing, you know, and I couldn't blame them. But I kept on it, and I persisted and persisted and persisted, and things just started developing. And then in 1980, 79, 80, I got our first chance to go to Paris. Can I tell you a story? This is crazy. It'll be quick. It'll be quick.
Yes, tell us the story.
Okay. The first time I went to Paris, I was back and forth to New York, but then I met up with a friend of mine, and she had a acting company in New York, was the Richard Allen Center for Culture and Arts in New York, and so I went up there and started doing some things up there at the Richard Allen Center. So they let me work up there and let me put a little studio in there, and I had it in there for about 4 years. So while I was there, I met some people who were going back and forth to Paris, and so they said, you know, we got to talking, and they saw some of my shows. They thought I was wonderful. I was doing shows for the churches in New York and other things like that. So they thought, well, oh, you're wonderful, and we can set something up for you in Paris. And so I said, Paris? I said, fine, you know. So they, so it was like a little agency in New York. So they set up for us to go to Paris. They set the date and everything for us to go to Paris and to do 3 shows. So I came back to Baltimore, and I was getting my models together, and we got our troupe together. We was going to go to Paris, and we was going to do these wonderful shows. Girl, we got to Paris and went to the places that we were supposed to go to see about the shows. First we went and got a little hotel and went to the agency that was supposed to be having the shows hooked up for us in Paris. Now, mind you, from Baltimore, we were sent off. The Afro-American newspaper gave us this big write-up. Right. The city was sending us off as style. The governor said he'll send us off as one of the ambassadors, you know, for Baltimore to do for fashion in Paris. Right. We got to Paris, and the place that we tried to contact that told us that, you know, we had the gigs did not exist. Oh, and I got about 13 or 14 models from Baltimore that we went over there, and this big send-off, we didn't have not one thing in Paris.
Oh my God.
And so my associate director, her name is Crystal, and Crystal's been with me, I mean, forever since I started business. And I told Crystal, I said, Crystal, they don't exist. We didn't know what to do. I said, well, look, we just stay calm. And it's just not tell everybody what's happening. And we had about 6, 7 rooms in the hotel. I mean, it was crazy. We spent money. We brought clothes from the United States to do over there. And we just thought, I said, everybody just go out and have a good time. You know where the hotel is to come back. You know, we told them what time to be back at the hotel, etc. So for 2 days, we would go out, and me and Chris was searching around. So 2 days in a row, we went by a big church, like an Amsterdam something in Paris. And lunchtime, people would be sitting out on the steps, eating lunch. Hundreds of people. And so the second day we went by there, I said, Crystal, we're going to do a show. Now, the models didn't know we didn't have a show at this point. Because we wouldn't I was scared to tell them, for one thing. Right. They'd be calling back home saying we don't have nothing. And so, so we, every day we went by this large, wonderful church of people out there, you know, eating lunch. So the 5th day, the second day I came back and I told them, I said, we're going to do a show. So we was ironing up our clothes and getting things ready. The 4th day that we was there, I said, that would be the day that we would do our show. I never told the models that wasn't on our planned shows. Only person who knew that was Crystal. Crystal Clear Forward. And so we went early in the morning, before lunchtime. We went down there, I mean, like 8 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was over there. Went down there, we got on the step, they had these big pillows. These big church steps, real high, and big pillows. And we went up there and set up a little dressing area right in back of the pillars on the top of the steps. And we waited. And we practiced on the steps. Now we waited around, starting at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30. Them people start coming out, sitting around there. And I said, here we go, you all. Did not have a mic, didn't have anything. And I got there and just had the people to move off the steps to a certain point to look and just start talking. We're from the United States of America. We are a big fashion group in the United States of America.
Oh my gosh!
And look, they start looking, and we start doing our show. they loved it. They started applauding. It was crazy, and we did our little outfits, and once we and photographers came from everywhere shooting pictures, and it was wonderful. And after a while, when we finished the little show, we pulled up our things, and we were dressing in behind these pillars. We was half naked back there, but you know, dressing out in there. But I mean, it all worked. It all worked, and we did the show. They loved it. People followed us down to Champs-Élysées, you know, which is a strip in Paris. I mean, getting our autographs, taking pictures of us, and from that one show, we got 2 other shows.
How did you meet all the heavy hitters in the fashion industry? How did you get that introduction?
Mario Van Peebles and I are good friends, and Sugar Ray, and I met a lot of people through them. Sugar Ray really did, we did his birthday party some years ago, and that was one of the things that really helped me a lot. And then after we did several other things for Sugar Ray and them, and then they used to invite me to different things that he was doing, etc. And really, Sugar Ray don't know it, but he was a big part of people really respecting us in the Baltimore, Washington area, because I had a big show and I needed a celebrity to come. We had it at the Grand Hyatt in Washington, D.C., and I needed a celebrity. And so Sugar Ray said, okay, come on over, you know, and say some words and host or whatever we wanted to do. And that was a big help to us. And so a lot of people I met through fashion shows, people like Danny Glover. I met Danny Glover through the Edwin Hawkins Music and Arts Seminar, because I've been working with Edwin Hawkins with this seminar that he does for 11 years. And I met Danny Glover through the seminars. I met Gladys Knight through those seminars. I met a lot of people in the industry through the seminars. Some of the nicest people in the world. Danny Glover, I don't know nobody's nice. This man is just incredibly nice. You know, you meet somebody, and most people you meet are really nice. This guy is incredible. I mean, he's just the nicest person. And those are the kind of people you meet. Edward and Walter and Tremaine Hawkins and all of them. And through them, I met a lot of people. And even in Paris, you know, back and forth over there, when I was knowing Willie and Patrick Kelly and Willie's sister Tookie Smith and all of them, I've met a lot of people through them. Susan Taylor, who went to New York a couple of times to do some things for Susan Taylor, and she's the editor-in-chief of Essence magazine. When I first started my magazine, she was just a great inspiration for me and helping me in terms of talking and things I need to do, et cetera, to help us. And she even brought us to New York a couple times to do the Harlem Festival and some other shows. I met people through them. So you meet people from the business as a whole, and then people hear about me. And I did some of the best fashion shows in this country, not just in this country, in anybody's country. Our fashion shows are great fashion shows.
Earlier you mentioned Mario Van Peebles and that you had gotten to know him through an introduction from someone else. How did you start working with him on the magazine? What is it, Travis?
We started doing it when I came back from Paris, the second time. And a lot of major magazines would not hire our models to do layouts and stuff like that. It was just so hard to get them any kind of exposure, real exposure. So I said, well, if the other magazines won't hire us and won't put us in their magazines, then I'll start my own. And that's what I did. And we started a magazine. We started out doing about 10,000 copies. We did it for 8 years. We was up to 120,000 copies around the country. And this was before Ebony Man came out, before a lot of the new magazines came out. We stopped it. We stopped doing it about 6 years ago. But we was doing that magazine literally across the country. Even when I would go to Paris and to Africa and places like that every year, I would see our magazines over in those countries.
What are the special needs of African American models and designers? They must have some special needs.
The need is for them to be able to be exposed and to get some kind of recognition for themselves, to give them, so they can feel better about themselves and they can feel their worth.
You've done so many things. You've traveled internationally and you're very well known nationally as well. Can you give us the key to success, what you think is the key to success?
You can do anything, and you don't let people stop you. And you're going to constantly come up with negatives that's going to happen with your business or whatever. Turn those negatives around and make it a positive out of it. You know, I don't wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Every day I wake up happy to be alive, speaking and smiling on my face, even if I don't feel good. Because it don't hurt you. And then you may make somebody else feel good.